Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to Coaching Conversations with Nick and Chris from UpCoach. Today, this is our last podcast for the year, for 2020, before we roll into a fresh new year. Today, we're breaking down two topics reasonably kind of briefly. Now, the first one is really looking at what you need to be doing for your business, or at least thinking about rolling into the end of the year to finish the year on a high. And secondly, what all business owners should be doing to rest and recharge over the Christmas break. But before we get into the detail, Nick, how are you going this morning?
Oh, very good. My voice is a little bit hoarse, but that was from yesterday's training. But good accomplishment. I'm re-energized again now, so we're ready and willing and able.
Really ready, willing, and able. Excellent. Good. Right. We'll dig in because we've got two topics to kind of cover off on. The first one is, Nick, what advice do you have for business owners leading into the end of the year? How can they make it impactful? How can they make the most of it? It's been, up and down year for many business owners this year. What can you do to finish the year on a high if you're running a business right now?
There's a few things that I would always look at, and very similar to what we do with the team. I think number one, it's important just to finish off really strong. So if there's leads that you can follow up, if there's calls that you can make, don't fall into the trap that it's, today's, the 14th or something like that, or whatever it is. Don't fall in the trap and to go, that's it. And it's 10 days till Christmas. I'll switch everything off. Think about it. You've got literally 15 days of trading that doing anything with anyway from the 25th and on, most of the times, unless you're in retail or hospitality and stuff. But I think finishing the year strong would be the first thing. So, and the reason being is most people then are going to slow down over the holiday break, and if you can go in it having a little surplus piggy of finances, it's always a good thing, right? Rather than just fall under the trap of, nobody wants to do business. The truth of the matter is that's not true. If everybody didn't do business, we saw it through COVID, even in the lockdowns, there were still people doing business. So if globally we've been affected like that, Christmas won't even put a dent in it. And the reason being is a lot of people also are recovering from COVID and they need to keep the doors open. So there's people doing business, especially if you're in a business to business. If you're in a business to consumer, there's going to be people not going away. So it makes sense that you just finish strong. And maybe you can see them over the period if you're not going to take any holidays and stuff. Number one, I believe, finish strong. Number two, I think it's important to keep your marketing active. And what I mean by that is most people go, no, we're on holidays, shut down all the marketing, don't do anything. We're worried about it mid-January or coming into February, because then there's, Australia Day, and usually nothing's happening till then. But now you've missed out on 6 weeks worth of marketing that could have, at some way, shape or form, set you up for February or set you up for the end of January or whatever it may be. And with us, we're not stopping, right? That's the goal. No. More posting. Actually, to be honest, I think it's about upscaling the marketing, because there's a lot of people just relaxing on their phone and they're on their phone doing nothing, so they've got more time.
Yeah.
To businesses in COVID, online businesses went through the roof, right? So if you've got an online component or you don't, or you've got a showroom and people want to come to it, well, it's a good time to market because people have got a little bit of downtime, and then you can always have a holiday later on in February or March, whatever it is, So I would definitely say keep the marketing active, whether it's online and or offline. With us, we're about to, send out postcards. We're thinking about still call center, obviously, now online stuff, email marketing, all of that type of stuff is really, really important. And then I think the last one would be start thinking about, what you can start strong with. And that could be something along the lines of what would really kick off, 2021. Could it be a sale? Could it be something like, new product launch? Could it be something like, getting back to all the people that you've spoken to previously throughout the year and really starting off with, hey, we spoke earlier the year, maybe you didn't buy our product, or you did, and maybe it's time for an upsell, or hey, can I ask for a referral, or any of these type of things. So I think if you start to plan and just get some lists together, that would be really cool. How can I kick off the year really strong by preparing for it now. You know,
so that could be creating an offer, perhaps that would be maybe January or February specific, and really punching that through to your audience. Yes,
very much so. Because once again, if you like most businesses and cash flow, especially in the construction game, if you don't get paid before the 23rd, you're not getting paid till the 23rd. You know,
that's wait a month.
Yeah, right. Because most construction's off, right? And then, by the way, rightly so, everyone needs to rest, and that sort of leads into the next part. But I think if you can start to prepare offers and stuff like that for what's kicking off 2021 to be strong, it'll be a good thing. Most people, you know, have, like I said, if they're not going away or they can't go away because of the airlines, you know, I think, and COVID, obviously, I think there's people wanting to do stuff, especially anything home renovation or any of that stuff. You've killed it. But people are going to be local. So if you gave them a really good offer for them to come and see you or book you online or that type of stuff, you've got opportunities there to go with, you know.
Okay. Got a question off the back of those three things. If you're reaching out to people, whether you're B2B or B2C, and people are giving you the excuse, I'm too busy right now, because a lot of people are busy and freaking out that, you know, Christmas is next Friday. And if you're listening to this or watching it and going, shit, it's next Friday, I'm sorry to tell you that it's next Friday. What's the antidote to that? If people are telling you that they're too busy, and I know that we're kind of semi-experiencing this with the call center as well, but we're kind of lining things up for next year. And really it's the emphasis is about setting appointments more than anything else. But, you know, what's the advice around if people are giving you the excuse, I'm too busy?
Yeah, look, I think people basically saying too busy just haven't seen enough value in something. I think too busy means that they think it's going to be a big, tedious process. And too busy just means, you know, I'm not really thinking about this that intently. So I would firstly say, well, if you can't see them, is there a way to nurture them? I mean, in our case, we've got appointments getting lined up into January, and people in construction are flat out. So when they go, you know, I need an hour, or we say we need an hour, they're just saying, I'm not in the mind space to do that. But can they watch a video later? Can you change the way that the connection point is rather than them speaking to you about something? Can you send them something to watch, to listen to connect with, just to keep front of mind? And that's our goal for the next 4 weeks is completely that. You know, whether it's the magazine, whether it's a book, whether it's a video, whether it's, you know, any of that stuff that we've been preparing for, content, and all that stuff. Number two, I just think, you know, can you make it easier? So instead of them coming to you, can you go to them? Well, you know what? Hey, you know, if you come after work, I can see you. All right, cool. Let's go for it that way. If you're, I don't know, architect, if you're a, you know, planner, if you're whatever it may be, can you go, hey, I know you're too busy. Can you check out our product online? And if you want to order that way, we'll just deliver it straight to you. So once again, they don't need to come into the showroom perhaps, and, you know, put a guarantee around it that if they're not happy with the, you know, table or the whatever they're ordering, hey, it's cool, you know, just exchange it back and we'll be cool. So, and that's why you see Amazon, you know, anything that's Amazon related, you know, Jeff Bezos just recently, you know, unfortunately passed away. And, you know, anything else that comes with that, you've got to consider, you know, the opportunity of how do you just make it easy for people? Because if you can make it easy for people, it's pretty awesome, right? So that's where I would think about, you know, how do I just make life easier for people? If you can do that, it's cool. And all it does is it just gets rid of the excuse that people can make easily. That's all it is.
Right.
And show value. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. So it's all about nurture and showing value if you can't get in front of people right now, obviously, and line things up for next year. I know with the call center, like I mentioned, we're just trying to give as much value as possible between now and next year and saying, hey, that's okay.
By the way, not Jeff Bezos. I meant to say Tony Hsieh, which is the...
Tony Hsieh.
Tony Hsieh, which is the Zappos.
Zappos.
And that's perfect. I mean, look at what he created. And all created on the consumer level of, hey, no problem. If you want an exchange, we're good for you. Service for him was incredible. I mean, I know you've read his books, Chris, and podcasts and stuff like that. It's just, you know, like just trust building. And what did he do? He literally took out the excuses from anything.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to order because I'm worried that they won't fit. I'm not going to order because I'm worried I don't like it. I'm not going to order because I don't think they're going to come in time. Those three out and built a monster.
Yeah, his emphasis was around creating the best experience possible.
Right.
And they sold anything. Well, they sold shoes initially, but they've diversified into lots of different markets now, and it's an incredible business, Zappos. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's for business owners that are planning or trying to finish the year strong. What advice do you have for business owners over the Christmas break, over the Christmas period? This is specifically targeted towards people that maybe aren't in hospitality or retail, because you guys, everything up to Christmas and then Boxing Day sales and on, it's all go, go, go. But for people that are running different businesses, maybe in that construction industries, manufacturing, engineering, anything in those industries where you traditionally do shut down, just before Christmas and may not reopen till middle of Jan, what's the advice you have for business owners over that time?
Yeah, look, I think the first thing is you need to rest up. I mean, it makes logical sense that most people take 1 or 2 weeks off and they work for 50 weeks. All right, so it's pretty insane when you think about it like that. And we all do this. I mean, most Aussies are hard workers and we get into it. Now, in saying that, you need to rest. And what that means is if you're going to close the door, just close the door. I guarantee your business is going to be there next year. The challenges that you face will be there next year. Your bank account will be there next year. So resting up is just honoring yourself, just to enjoy life, for a little bit. You've worked hard, so it makes sense that you enjoy that, or else why do you work? All right, so resting up is critical. Number 2, what I really like to do is kind of give gratitude about thinking about all that you've accomplished. So most of us never take stock of what we've accomplished. And you could also take stock of what you haven't accomplished. So maybe you can tack it on to 2021. But what you've accomplished just makes you feel good. Most people don't realize they've gone through COVID. They've had to adjust their businesses. They've, had to change their life. They've had to do all of these things. So that in itself is an accomplishment. If you cared for somebody, if you've kept your business going through COVID, I mean, it's a massive accomplishment.
Yeah.
If you've kept your family safe. And these could be little things. If you didn't get it, it's a good thing. Like there's the little things that make all the difference. So giving gratitude and really just taking tally of everything that you've accomplished is really, really awesome. And the reason being, it just makes you feel good going into the holidays, right? Or while you're on holidays, it goes, hey, you know what? I've done that. It's pretty good. I mean, with us, we had a concept of a book, and now we've got a book, right? We've had a concept of writing 30 emails, 207 emails later, we did. For me, my personal goals, accomplished that. All of these things, and there's amazing things that happen, and it very rarely do you just sit and for 2 seconds and think about them. So do that. And number 3, I think what I like to say is set goals that are you focused. And what I mean by that is a lot of us set business goals for next year, or hey, I want to make this type of money, or I want to employ these type of people, or I want to get this business off the ground, or this product. But very rarely are we you-focused or I-centric. Think of it like that. Here's what I've learned this year. This year I've made me focused. And to be brutally honest, I've enjoyed the year tremendously. I've accomplished amazing things. My health's back into good speed. I've accomplished personal goals that I wouldn't have done before. I'm less stressed out. Money's good, right? All of these things are important. We've literally changed the model of the business, and that's touch wood, operating nicely. There's all of these things that happen. And then the way that I made it was, me focused, you focused. And what I mean by that is it's not arrogancy, but it's selfish. And selfish means selfish or self-focused to then get everything else happening. Don't misconstrue the word selfish by being, you're an arrogant pig that doesn't care about anybody. That's the wrong selfish. I think selfish is I'm just more self-focused about me at this stage. so then I can go and give more, I can perform more, I can be better. And we've had amazing growth and all that type of stuff. So I think it's important that you start with you focused. What are you going to do for you in 2021? Because if you look after you, everything else becomes better. Business is just a reflection of you. You're stressed, business is stressed. You're calm, business is calm. That's you're unhealthy, business is usually unhealthy. Sometimes that's a bit out. People make plenty of money, but they're 80 kilos overweight and they look like shit.
Yeah. It's about incorporating that aspect of balance, I guess. But you're right. You wouldn't drive a car or try and drive a car with an empty fuel tank. So it's important that you, or not even maintain your car at that level. So it's important that you kind of refuel and re-energize yourself, just like refueling the car, so that you can make the most of 2021. And I agree with you. It's something I've spoken with the clients about recently, which is being selfish. What do you want to get out of the business? What do you want from the business next year? Think about yourself first and foremost, because you're the one making those decisions, doing the hours, making the sales to keep the business moving forward.
That's interesting because, you said balance, and I think it's actually beyond that. I think it's integration. You can still have the business you want. I don't, people, I'm always flat out. I'm like, yeah, cool. If you're flat out, it tells me either there's a systems problem or a personnel problem. Right? It's pretty basic. We've been doing business for a long time, so we get it. And I get it. Sometimes it's money or all of these things. But I can tell you that if you set yourself up in a particular way and make it a non-negotiable for you, then it's cool. Like with me, Mondays, I don't really see clients. Now, do I never not see clients? The answer is no, if I need to do whatever it takes. But Mondays is usually me day. After this, I'm going to go and exercise. I get work done. I write. I want to, chores around the house, stuff like that. And then tonight I'll go to, craft training. And Friday's the same thing. I try to finish half a day. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm working 15 hours a day.
Full on, yeah.
I'm cool to get, and think about it. If you can't get stuff done in 45 hours, that's 3 15-hour days. We're pushing it. Well, then you might want to consider what your system's looking like. Or do you have enough personnel to do the job? Or is this a mindset thing that you're too scared to let go? So having a work-life integration into 2021, making you focused first, you're good. And by the way, you focused doesn't mean that you need to be at the beach every day. It could just mean that it's 30 minutes in the morning going to the gym. Could mean 30 minutes in the morning doing some yoga, having a stretch, breathing, taking the dog for a walk, hanging out with the kids. Whatever it is for you that just goes, hey, it's a bit about me, it's cool. It could mean, Saturday afternoons, usually I like to go to a cafe in the city, old school cafe, Bill and Tony's, and I just get my laptop up, write stuff, put my headphones, have a cafe latte, have a couple of cannolis, and just watch the world go past for 2 hours. And it's a 30-minute drive. Parking thing, it's cool. But you know what? That's me. I'm not there. Kids aren't there. Wife's not there. It's just me. I don't know anyone there. And man, I love it. I look for actually, I've done it for a while. I've got to get back to that, right? But, it's one of those things. Take the boat out. Whatever, just anything that can be you focused. I guarantee you, I'm willing to bet money on it. I guarantee you that if you go you focused first, and funny enough, you taught me this, Chris, you focused first. And you said, dude, you look after you first and we're cool. And the results have been tremendous considering the previous years and what we've had to go through.
Yeah, that's right.
My health conditions, all of that. I'm presuming if I did what I did today for the last 5 years, I'd probably be healthier, wealthier, and younger. I don't know, something like
that. Happier, and maybe happier.
Maybe happier, healthier, wealthier, and happier. And now I'm on track. It feels good. We're good, and just simplify my life. You really can do that. When's enough? You got to think about that. What are the things that you want to do? And to be brutally honest, and I'm going to say this harshly, who gives a shit about anyone else? Don't worry about what other people think. You do what's good for you, and that's it. For you and your family. And for your business. Don't worry about what everybody else says. Don't look at competing, because I guarantee you they're not thinking about you. Oh my God, geez, he's working hard. They don't care. Everyone's looking after themselves.
Yes, they are. And it comes back down to, this is probably another podcast episode next year, but it comes back down to want. I always start there. Start there with the clients. What is it that you want? What do you want your business to look like? And then we can shape that into purpose or mission, vision, why, the whole lot. But it really comes back down to what. If you want to be, like you said, Nick, healthier, wealthier, happier for 2021, what change do you need to make to look after you and become some level of selfish at the beginning of next year or throughout the Christmas break as well? But, leading into next year, because if you're a better being, you'll be a better being for everyone else too.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I get people that are just so stressed out with their work that they, I'm going to use the word, it begins to bleed onto everything else that they do. They come home, they're stressed. They don't want to hang out with the kids. They're grumpy to their partners.
Yeah.
They're grumpy to their employees. It's all of this stuff. And it cascades into shittiness. Half an hour of breathing and walking in the morning usually helps that.
Yeah, right.
It's not about pills. It's not about doing any of that. I was telling you before this, yesterday, we did a grading and it was 4.5 hours of intensity. We must have burned easy, 10,000 plus calories, easy.
Yeah, right.
It was really intense. But it was an accomplishment that I did with my son and my best mate. All of those things are pretty awesome when you think about it from the perspective of, it was me time. I did that, and I've been training for 4.5 months to get up to that.
Yep.
Me, same thing. And it's not about the piece of paper. It's about the awesomeness of spending a bit of me time, even though it's hard work and your body's sore and bruises and injuries. But I don't know, there's something about it that you go, hey man, I did it. And for me, it's an extra special thing. I'm 52 and I'm keeping up with all the juniors.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's
a age rivalry. So.
There's vanity there too, right?
Yeah, I think so. Good. Well, there you go, guys. That's exactly what you can be spending time on and around over the Christmas break. Spend it on you. Look after yourself, and I know that you'll lead into next year in a much better position if you're completely stressed out and exhausted currently. So 2020 has been tough for a lot of business owners. We've seen it. We've seen it firsthand, but we know that 2021 can be what you make it for next year. So that's it for the year. Sorry, Nick.
Sorry, interesting enough, even though that 2020 stuff, it also has been a blessing because some people have slowed down a little bit to a more realistic pace.
It's taught us a few things.
Completely.
So that's it for the last episode of Coaching Conversations for the year. Thank you so much for your time, Nick. Have you got any parting words?
Yeah, I think 2 things. Number 1, change the way that you look at things, and the things that you look at begin to change. Make you the focus of 2021. Everything will change.
That's great.
And number 2, just really think about how you can serve another human being to the best of your ability. You can do that. If you can love, if you can help, if you can be kind, if you can give, the rewards will be 1 million times better than what you've given. Just think about that. This is what we need more of. Be selfish enough that you can look after yourself, so then you can give more. So it becomes win-win all the way around.
Very good. Very good. That was Nick's Christmas message for you from UpCoach, and we wish you all a great Christmas. Very happy New Year. If you're watching this and pay attention to our social channels, you'll see us throughout Christmas and the New Year period anyway. But I wish you well, and we'll be speaking to you again on the same Coaching Conversations podcast early next year. So bye now.
Bye for now.